everyone, we are live and welcome to the weekly show of Classroom Without Walls. My name is and join me live today is the one and only Stella Da Silva and from the UK, and it is 10 p.m. for her. So thank you so much for staying late. And today we are talking about LinkedIn. And I absolutely love Stella's approach to LinkedIn and how she has built such an amazing community on LinkedIn. And we are going to learn all of her tricks and secrets and how she has effectively built such an amazing community on LinkedIn so that we can be like as awesome as her and gaining clients and growing our business and creating income and impact. Before we dive into the details, and the Q&A, I just want to briefly introduce our amazing guest. So Stella is a LinkedIn expert, even though she doesn't think this way. She's a LinkedIn influencer. She's a LinkedIn expert. She is also a consultant in international education and training. And many of her clients have come to her organically through her LinkedIn content. She has no website. She has no email list. So if this is something you are super passionate about and curious, like how she makes this work, so this show is for you. And so thank you so much for being here, everyone. Queen, Sarah, Laura, Laurie, and Suzanne, and Peter, and Jim, Melissa, Vicky. Thank you so much, everyone from all over the globe. And Sarah, and leave me a comment in the comment section and let us know where you are joining us from. And Nick, oh my God, made it. Yeah. And everyone, thank you so much for being here. And Stella, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. And hi, Nick.
We have quite a number of people joining us live from all parts of the globe. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to you. And do you want to add anything to my brief introduction, Stella?
Just to say hello, everyone. I'm so glad for my sort of UK friends, family connections who have stayed up late into the night, and also all from the States. I see different people from all over the place. Aww. And I'm just really excited to get started.
Awesome. Let's waste no time and dive into my Q&A, my questions. And if you have any question related to LinkedIn and building a community on LinkedIn organically, and please leave your question in the comment section. So Stella, please tell us more about your LinkedIn journey. How long have you been using LinkedIn, and what brought you to LinkedIn in the first place?
Okay, so just sort of to cut a very long story short, I've been on LinkedIn for absolute years. I think when everybody joined LinkedIn, and then again clicked on it, and I thought very stuffy place to be. I don't belong here. Left it for a number of years, and then back in I think it was October 2017, something just said, you know what, Stella, you need to go on LinkedIn. Just go and check it out and see what's going on there. So off I pop into LinkedIn, and I just think, oh my God, changes everywhere. I'm seeing different people putting out different types of content. It didn't look as stuffy as it was when I first registered so many years ago. It wasn't just about putting your CVs out there. And I thought, okay, I can do this. I can do this. So my journey literally started there. I started putting out content on LinkedIn. If I got 5 likes, that was brilliant. And out of the 5, one of those likes was mine when I first started. But gradually, I started to follow quite a few influencers, quite a few LinkedIn experts. I started to study LinkedIn as a platform in itself. And I just literally decided I need a change. I think the way LinkedIn worked for me was me just being me. And that literally meant including changing my profile picture, because my profile picture initially was very businesslike, very, very formal. And I thought, well, hang on a second. I don't deliver training in a suit. I never, ever delivered training in a suit. When I deliver training, it's quite informal. It's quite happy clappy. So that needed to show even on my profile picture. And then once that mindset changed, where I had just clicked that I just need to be myself. I just need to tell people out there what I do work-wise, and this is in my style that I do it in, things really began to kick off.
Yeah. Wow, this is so amazing. You are clearly an early adopter of LinkedIn. And I have to say, LinkedIn didn't make sense to me until maybe like 2 years ago, maybe even like a year and a half ago. I really started to use LinkedIn on a daily basis. So I can't wait to learn more from you and everyone in the live audience, and let me know, when did you start being really active on LinkedIn? Because I don't want to feel like I'm the only late adopter here. So this is a perfect transition to my next question.
As I said,
go ahead.
I realized very early on that once I was on LinkedIn, I had to be consistent. So literally, once I was on it, I had to commit to it, to actually start building a proper network. And it wasn't just a network of just connecting with people, but obviously I'm a freelance training consultant. So I needed to build a network of other trainers, potential clients. And the only way I could organically do it was literally just putting out content, literally on a daily basis. People then begin to engage, and I engage back with them. So, you know, I put out content, they engage, I respond. And if there was any sort of synergy in what we did work-wise, then it gave me an opportunity to either send them a DM or they send me a DM. And literally relationships start from then.
Yeah. I saw so many comments from people, and thank you for joining us, Alina. I know it's midnight for you. Oh my God. But like many people are the same about a year and a half ago, being a lurker, being very passive. So we are like almost all of us are on the similar boats. Yeah. So you have been on LinkedIn for quite some time. And I personally feel like over the past 2 years or so, LinkedIn has changed a lot. It is no longer a place where people come to share resumes and to look for jobs. It is so much more. So what are some compelling changes that you have noticed on LinkedIn within the past 2 years or so? And how have you leveraged those changes to grow your brand and business?
I think the one major change that has come on LinkedIn over the last few years is that now people are not suckers anymore. Okay. And what I mean by that is people buy into people. That's the most important thing. And that's the first thing they do before they start thinking of maybe buying your products or buying your services. So you are the buy-in. Once that sort of clicks, and once you put out content where people resonate with it, selling your product or selling your service actually becomes second nature, becomes very, very easy. Wow. So I found literally that being myself, it really is that simple. Being myself, putting out and evidencing the work that I do by putting it out through either content or videos or images or what have you, it then gives people a fair idea of what you are about. I share my good days, I share my achievements, I share my struggles, because we all have them. And these are things that people resonate with. And once they resonate with that, trust me, they connect. Once they connect with that, potential clients start connecting. So again, it's how you build that network within your LinkedIn profile. The buy-in ultimately is always going to be you first.
Oh, I love this. And I love this comment from Lori. And she was talking about, just you mentioned this already quite a few times. Be human, be you, and be who you are, and share like the good and the bad and the ugly. And I really love this. I really feel like in 2019, I read like Mark Schaefer's book, and even when I had Seth Godin on the show, like everybody was talking about the same thing. I hear the same message: be more human, be more authentic, be more vulnerable. And do you see that as kind of a key strategy to your success?
I think the word authenticity and authentic is just being branded all over LinkedIn. Okay. And a lot of people, myself included, we use that word quite a lot, but a lot of people don't necessarily practice being authentic. Okay. So again, it's one thing to say that, oh yes, I'm being authentic, but it's another thing to actually demonstrate that on LinkedIn. And what I mean by that is through the content that you're putting out there. And I find when I'm engaging on other people's content, the first thing I'm trying to not ask myself is, what do they mean exactly? And the moment I start to question what you mean through your content, then I can't really engage because I don't understand what you've put out there. So if you're telling me about your job, if you're using terminology that I don't understand, that I'm having to ask you, then the chances are I'm not going to engage because I can't be bothered, or I haven't got time to start Googling certain words or certain acronyms that you've put out there that you haven't explained, or you haven't taken the time out to explain. So if you're putting content out there, put out content that people understand, that people get, and people can engage with. Sometimes I hear a lot of LinkedIn experts and they come out with all these big fancy words, and to me it's not rocket science. It really isn't. It's straightforward.
You know what? That's why, I just love you so much. Everyone, you really need to follow Stella because she is just so grounded, and she definitely shows you that you can do this too. And which is also a good transition to my next question. And I remembered you mentioned this so many times on your LinkedIn profile or different posts. You don't have a website, as I introduced you earlier. You don't have an email list when everybody is talking about you need a list, list building. And so how do you do it? So share some. And nowadays on your LinkedIn post, and I think you easily gain and frequently gain a few hundred comments and likes. I'm talking about paragraphs, not just like some of those comments you say, yes, I agree, amazing, awesome. I do that frequently myself. But on Stella's post, people were like really commenting. So can you please share with us if you can trace back to where you were a few years ago? Because I can see from the live audience comments, many of us are just starting out on this journey, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago at most. So if you can trace back to where you were like 2 years ago or a few years ago when you were just starting out on this journey, and I want you to share, how did you build this momentum? And ladies and gentlemen, you didn't even have a banner picture, but I was checking earlier, and you just uploaded a banner picture. So that just shows me like you can do this without having A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You can still grow a thriving business. So pull the curtain and share everything with us, Stella.
Okay, so I'm nearly 49. I'm nearly 49 this year. I'm 49 in June. And honestly speaking, my sort of professional career has really just kicked off probably in my 40s. I've always worked. I've always enjoyed my job. I've been a freelance training consultant for the last 10 years, and I deliver training both here in the UK and internationally. But I became very sort of, what's the word that we used earlier on? Despondent. And I just thought there must be something else out there for me in terms of how I can share my passion in education and training without being tied down to one particular client. There must be other clients out there who need my services. And I generally just thought, you know what, I'm just going to give this LinkedIn thing a try. And that's what I did. I went there. I did study. I did go through a lot of different profiles because mine was a complete mess. Didn't have a clue what I needed to put in on my profile. So I went and looked at other people's profiles, what it is they said about themselves, and again, adapted various profiles into mine and to make mine unique to me so that everybody's clear on exactly what I put out there. And then literally, as I said very earlier on, it was literally just about putting content out there. And I focused initially on just all the training I used to deliver. So there was one instance, I was in Vietnam. I put up all the posts relating to the work I was doing there. I put up a lot of pictures. So I then had a client from LinkedIn contact me and said, "You keep popping up on my feed."
Wow.
And literally that was it. She actually never engaged on any of my posts. She didn't like, she didn't comment, but I kept popping up on her feed. So that's how she contacted me and said, "Look, you know, I've got some work for you that you might be interested in." And within 4 weeks of joining LinkedIn, like properly being active on LinkedIn, within 4 weeks of that, I was in Saudi Arabia delivering training.
Wow.
So that's how that
amazing.
happened. That's how that happened. And then, of course, when I'm in Saudi Arabia doing exactly the same thing, I'm putting content out there, engaging with people, telling people what I'm doing, again, evidencing everything that I'm doing. And I'm going to share with you guys a very simple technique on how to put your content out there. So again, putting all my content out there, and another client pops up, makes a comment. I look who he is. I send him a DM, and within a week of engaging, he flies to London all the way from Malaysia. We have a meeting, and I
because of you.
Because of what I put out there on LinkedIn. I've never met this client. We've never engaged before. Again, he'd put out one comment on one of my posts. He was in London, flew into London for a meeting, had a meeting, and 3 weeks after that meeting, I was in Oman. And I've been in Oman every single week, every single month since January of 2018. And this is from putting myself out there on LinkedIn. That's the power of LinkedIn.
Wow, that's amazing. Before you share your like secret formula with us, and really appreciate that. And can you please define active for us? And I saw like Peter has a question like, how frequently do you post? You know, you mentioned that you're being very active. So I think we all define active very differently. So define active for me, like tell us the frequency, like how frequently do you post, and what type of content do you post, and you think that people kind of gravitate toward that type of content?
So I'm a freelance education and training consultant. So I post a lot about obviously the work that I do. Okay. And especially when I'm delivering. So when I'm actually working, I then post about my job, my proper job, if you like. And I post almost every day. It's very, very rare that I don't post on a daily basis. I just put up one post and I post basically every day. So that's the first thing. If on a bad week, I will probably post 4 times in that week, but I'm very consistent and very, very active. And it does take time.
For me, it's for a good week, I post maybe 3 times. I love it. Keep going. Sorry to interrupt you, but I love this. This is gold.
So I do post every other day, but I mean, on a very good week, I would post Monday to Sunday on a very, very good week, and that's probably, I have more good weeks than I have bad weeks. That said, it is very, very time consuming because it is so important that when you do put a post out and people engaged, you've got to remember that they've afforded you the courtesy of engaging on your post. The least you can do is engage back. So that takes a bit of time. And again, as you rightly said, I've got amazing connections who really engage on a post. So it's not about them literally writing a really long, engaging comment and I'm just saying, yeah, that's great, thanks. So again, I've got to engage. So sometimes we end up having a continued discussion, and that is time consuming. I'm not going to lie, but through that you build relationships. Okay, so potentially there are clients that come out of that. So even through that kind of engagement, I end up having connections who then say to me, who will then send me a message privately asking for me to coach them on their LinkedIn and their LinkedIn strategy. And again, that has come from nowhere. That's just because they see how I engage and how I talk. So again, I've built.
And at this point, you still do not have an email list. Do you have one or no?
No. No email list, no website, no business card, nothing. I've never had it. I've never had the need for it. And I've been busy. I work every single day, and I have done for years and years. I've never relied on anything because again, I keep saying the buy-in is you. The buy-in is not your business card. The buy-in is not your website. The buy-in is definitely not your mailing list. The buy-in is you. So put yourself out there, then people will buy into you. It's again, it's not difficult. So again, it's about building those relationships. And there are some, I'm sure there's some people who are watching this, and I have formed extremely good working friendships on LinkedIn because again, we've just gotten to know each other either initially through LinkedIn, and then we communicate via Zoom, or I make a real effort to try and meet as many people as I can face to face wherever I am in the world. So if I'm traveling and I just say, look, I'm going to be in this country, any of my LinkedIn connections here, let's meet up. And again, you start building relationships from that. And even through doing that, people then start recommending me and say, look, I know this brilliant trainer, she's really good, take her on. So I've gotten work through that. So that's why I don't need business cards and a website.
Exactly. You already have enough, like more than enough, right? And
my connections do my marketing for me.
I got an amen for that.
They really
do. Oh my God, what you said is exactly what Mark Schaefer wrote in his book, Marketing Rebellion. He said the same thing. Let your fans and social connections to do the marketing for you. Oh my God, you just nailed it.
I feel like I owe them so much money because, no word of a lie, I get tagged all over the place, even on LinkedIn. There are people that maybe I've engaged once, but something has just clicked for them that they just remember my name. I mean, Stella, I always say Stella Star anyway, okay? Because that's what Stella means.
Stella Star.
But again, no word of a lie, they just do my marketing for me. And I'm blown away by how many people just tag me on various posts, or I will wake up in the morning and I will get a DM with somebody recommending me. I've got a client, Diana Sage. She's amazing. She literally, I owe her commission because I worked with her for about a couple of months, and every connection she speaks to, she just tells people, you've got to contact Stella. She's a brilliant coach. And I've had so many clients through her, and I've done no marketing of my own.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. And you are now even on Twitter. I really love how focused you are. As I was promoting this show, I was trying to find you on Twitter. I was like, okay, I couldn't find this lady. She's probably not on Twitter.
I'm not a Twitter fan.
Exactly. And that's totally okay. Like so many of us, we just feel so pressured and to be here and there because we listen to this person, that person. I think the bottom line is we have to do what works for us, right? And I just love your approach. It's like so brilliant. And even when you mentioned this takes time, but you know what? Last week, or maybe last week, I had the king of Facebook ads, Israel Rats, on my Facebook live show. And you know, like when you think about Facebook ads, it's automation, like maybe not take much time, doesn't take much time to figure it out. And even he mentioned it takes quite a few months to figure it out. So the same thing here, right? Either you do and spend quality time to figure out Facebook ads or do this type of organic reach and community building. Regardless of which, it takes time. So I'm so glad you mentioned that.
But on saying that, you have to be constructive and productive with your time, because again, I hear it all the time. I hear so many people tell me, yes, but I spend absolute hours on LinkedIn and I don't get anything. I'm always constantly engaging. And I'm just like, whoa, okay, yes, you know, if you're spending hours, then you must get some sort of return on investment. I spend hours on LinkedIn, but there's a return on investment for me because, again, I strategically place myself on LinkedIn to the right people where I am engaging with influencers. I am putting comments out there that is going to stand out from all the other hundreds of comments out there. And then people liking my comments so that my comments is actually part of the post. Okay. And then when I get so many people liking those, a particular comment, I go and check who they are because I want to see who has engaged on, who's just liked my comment. Because again, my potential client is there. So again, this is what I'm talking about. It does take time, but if you do it strategically and where you know you're going to get a return on your investment, then for me, it's time well spent. But I hear so many people who say they spend hours on LinkedIn and they engage, and some people are just engaging, you know, wrongly. Because if you're engaging on hundreds of content and just saying things like, yeah, that's great, good share, well done, you're not going to get very far. Trust me. You're not going to get very far.
Are guilty. Sorry to interrupt you. How many of us are guilty of that? Write down me, M-E, in the comment section. I can say me.
No, if you're really going to commit to someone's post, then commit to it. If you see a post that really resonates with you and where you really feel that you can add value to it, then spend some time and add value to it. Because again, you stand out from the crowd. You stand out has been the one person who is taking time out to really connect and engage with the poster. So again, it's almost a daily challenge for me that when I go to comment on somebody's post, it's almost a daily challenge that, yes, I need to beat how many likes on a post I'm going to get. Because that's the key. My clients are actually, some of my clients are those what we call lurkers. They don't necessarily fully engage, but they will go and like the comments that I'm making here and there. So I can then go and see who's liked a particular comment and then build a connection with them.
Oh, so many good points. I really love this. So can you please, you mentioned that you have some like specific strategies. Please share those with us because we already see how amazing you are. I'm sure everyone in the live audience, oh my God, I wish we could be like Stella. So please allow us to be like you.
Okay, so to put out content, and I use this in my training sessions in any event. So when I'm delivering on employability skills and when I'm talking to clients about going for interviews, we use a principle called the STAR principle. Okay. And you won't forget star. Just remember Stella, Stella, star. Okay.
Oh,
And
love that.
I know. So the basic star principle, the S in star actually means the situation. So when you're putting out your content, think about the situation. Okay. And then write about that. Then you're talking about the task. What is the actual task? Okay. And then what is the action? So what action have you actually taken? And of course, the R stands for what is the result? Because ultimately, that's what your client wants to see. The client wants to see what you've been doing, what the task for, what action you took, and what was the result of that action. So again, when you're putting out content, I tend to use that star principle. I tend to have that situation. So my situation could be in my classroom, in my delivery room. What is the task? My task is I'm delivering to trainers, for example. What is my action? Well, I'm telling you exactly what I'm doing. And this is the result of it. The result of it is my trainers that I'm training to are coming out really, really happy. They've gained so much in doing this. They've gained so much in doing that. If I have any stats to back that up, if I've got any numbers to back it up, then I back it up with the numbers. So again, as you can see, it's very, very easy. Star principle on most content works. I also ask a lot of questions at the end of my content, because by asking a question, I'm more likely to get engagement. So when I put my content out there, I don't follow that same principle. Again, you want to stand out on LinkedIn. So you don't want to copy exactly what other people are doing. This is what makes you unique from everybody else. So when I'm asking a question, I don't put any thoughts, question mark, or agree, question mark. I really think about the question that I know somebody will see and go, I really want to answer this question. I've got something to say about this. Okay. So again, when I put the content out and it's really sitting down and thinking, what type of question will get engagement? What type of question is going to draw other trainers to my post, potential clients to my post, and just my connections to my post?
Wow.
And that is how you put out your content. There's no magic way. There's no big LinkedIn strategy or LinkedIn words to put. It's literally just following a very, very basic principle.
Oh my God, everyone in the live audience like loving this, learn so much. This is amazing. So do you actually have, yes, I'm definitely going to watch the replay again, because right now I'm now truly focused as I'm also trying to engage in conversation. But anyway, so do you actually have a content calendar? I saw many people commenting in the comment section. They were like, I don't know what to talk about. The content is now engaging. I said something, nobody's engaging with me. And I'm sure it has become a lot more competitive than probably when you were starting out. So like, do you actually have a content calendar? Like, how do you plan out your content, especially if you are posting 7 days a week?
Every day,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay. So it's almost like being an author. Sometimes you just have that blankness where you can't think of anything to write. And that in itself is content. Like literally, that in itself is content, that I just have nothing to write. I'm really struggling. My mind is blank. And even that has happened where I've just put that out. I've put it out as content that, look, I don't know what to write. I'm struggling, this, that, and the other. And then again, people just say, oh my gosh, I thought it was only me. I thought it was only me. And then other people come in and say, I have these feelings as well. This happens to me. And other people will come with suggestions. Okay. So again, I tell people, don't overthink things. I say this in my training classes. I say this to my clients. Don't overthink things. Content comes in different forms, be it through work or through your personal life or your professional life. You walking out and something just triggers, something different about you walking out of your house. You can write about it, but always try and link, even if it's something personal, always try and bring it back and link it to your work. So that's what I try and do. So when I'm talking about something personal happening in my life, be it, and I've talked about my parents on LinkedIn, I've talked about my siblings on LinkedIn, but I always link it back to work, because again, all of you guys, all our connections listening to us here, they've got families, right? Mm-hmm. They've got mothers, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives. So it is relatable. Mm-hmm. That is content. So don't always get stuck into that, oh, it's got to be about work, or it's got to be funny, or it's got to be, if it's sad, then say something sad, we'll connect. If it's funny, say something funny, we'll connect. Yeah. But just be real, be true to yourself, try not to duplicate, try not to replicate, try not to copy anybody else, because people will see through that. People will see that there's a familiarity with the way you're putting out content, that they've read it somewhere before. That doesn't make you stand out from the crowd. There are 560 million people, or even more now, on LinkedIn. So what do I have to do to stand out from the crowd? I've just got to be uniquely me, because nobody else can be me. So that is, it's that simple. That's what makes me stand out from the crowd. Me.
It's so fascinating. When we just started our interview, you were talking about just being you, and now we're about to wrap up. We kind of also like a full circle, right? Just like being you. Everybody else is already taken, and this is so true. And I love this. Actually, quite a few people have mentioned in the comment section they are overthinking all the time. I can have a quick story. I can so relate, because talking about being on multiple channels, I'm guilty of that. So I'm starting a YouTube channel, but this time, when I started my Facebook channel, I didn't do any research. I was like, whatever, I just started a channel 2 years ago. But this time I was like, I need to be more strategic. So I was doing research about camera, best practices. And guess what? I discovered the more research I do, the more I feel like I'm not prepared. It's like a rabbit hole. Seriously, I bought the camera. I still haven't started my YouTube channel yet. But in contrast, when I was doing this Facebook Live, I just literally started. So learn from my mistake, and that is just don't overthink. Yeah, that's so good. Oh, I wish we could that chat forever.
I'm also going to share with you one more thing, because when we're talking about overthinking this, I want people to start thinking about using what I call, and again, I use this often in training, and it's about giving yourself time to evaluate. Okay? And what I mean by that is, even when I put content out there and I see that the engagement hasn't been great, because again, some days I put out content out there that I don't think is going to be great, and yet that will be the one that will get the most likes and the most comments, and the ones that I really think should really be engaging, I hardly get anything. But what I then tend to do is I just take a bit of time out and evaluate, and again I use a very, very simple approach, so that I'm not too hard on myself. And this is what I'm talking about, people overthinking things. So again, a technique that I always use in feedback, for example, when you're evaluated, is what I call the sandwich approach. Okay, so everybody think of the sandwich. So of course you've got the top layer, you've got all the middle bits, the ham, the lettuce, the tomato, the filling. Okay, so you have the top layer, you have the filling, and of course you've got the bottom layer. So the top layer for me is what went really, really well, and I praise myself for it. Okay, so that is the top layer. It's all about being positive. Okay, and then you've got what we call the middle layer. So that's all your salads, all your fillings. Okay, and that is, what is my area of improvement? What do I actually need to improve on with regards to the content I'm actually putting out there? And then The bottom layer is to praise myself, to say, well, at least I did put some content out there. So it wasn't really a bad day. So it's almost like, again, just taking that time out for yourself and using that sandwich approach. So for those of you out there who are thinking, oh, I'm just having a bad day, I can't put out content, this is not working for me. Well, take time out and think of all the good things that's happened to you today and praise yourself for it. Then work on those areas where you genuinely feel you need to improve on. Make a note of what areas you need to improve on, but end that same evaluation, that same time out, end that time out on a positive, be it with a glass of wine or listening to music or dancing around. I don't care what it is, but always start positive, areas for improvement, and end it on a positive. So again, that's how my mindset has been working with LinkedIn, especially when I have really bad days on LinkedIn. And trust me, I have some really bad days on LinkedIn.
Wow, oh my God, this is so good. Everyone's just loving it, including myself. And I love all the STAR principle, the sandwich approach. They're so simple, but they worked so well. Yeah. So I can't wait to apply them myself. And just to respect your time, is almost like 11 p.m. for you. We're just going to wrap up here.
It's going really quickly, isn't it?
I know, we are having fun. Yeah, I'm just like learning so much. So this question I really want to ask you, what do you think about LinkedIn pods? Like, do you ever join any of them? Like, what's your approach? Because I know some people who use it very successfully, and some people feel like it's just a waste of time. So I want to hear your take on this.
I actually did a post on this. I think it was a few days ago, and I actually did an experiment because I'm in a few pods. Okay, my pods though are very, very small. So I'm in a pod of I started podding probably about a year ago, and the very first pod, there's just 7 of us, and there's 7 amazing people in these pods. And again, it's not so much about liking and engaging on each other's pods, because that's the whole idea of a pod for those of you who don't know it. So a pod is where a group of people, a group of connections meet up through DM or through WhatsApp, and the whole point is we need to like and engage on each other's posts, just to push our content out a bit further. So most people are in pods, including the big major players. Don't be fooled by their figures. They are in what I call super pods. Okay. And those pods, there are some pods I hear that are quite aggressive. So you have to like and engage on every single content out there. So if you're in a pod of 120, over 100 people, you've got to go and engage and like it on 99 posts. Okay. That may have no relevance to you, may not bring you any business, so it's a total waste of time. So this is where some people tell me they're spending 5 hours because they're focusing on their pods. So there's no return on investment for them. So I tell them it's a waste of time. It really is. Okay. So I'm in a pod. I'm in a couple of pods, but they're 2 particular pods that are less than 10 of us. In fact, there's 7 of us in each of these pods. And no word of a lie, we don't use it to just like and engage. These are what I would call my go-tos. So when we're having a bad day, we share our struggles. We talk about business not going well. We give each other advice. We're a real tight support network. And that's what I love about pods. You can build some really, really great connections and friendships through pods. Likewise, some pods are truly aggressive. So again, and for some people, some pods work. And for others, they don't. I've been in pods where I've just completely removed myself because it just wasn't for me. It was a tad too aggressive for me. That's not the way I work. I'm not going to be pressured into liking a contents that I don't necessarily agree on. So I just remove myself from those pods. So I am in them, but it's my choice, it's my right to engage on whoever and whatever pod or whatever content I want to be on. So those are sort of like the advantages and disadvantages of pods.
Oh, I saw this question, which is a great question. Do people charge? They don't, right?
No, they don't. Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. Pods, I mean, nobody should be charging for pods. As I said, a pod is just somebody just deciding to get maybe a few of their connections, okay, into a group. So you become a group of people, and you put out content, and then literally you are engaging in all their content every single day. But if they have no relevance to you work-wise, you are wasting a lot of time. You're wasting a lot of time. So again, I heard somebody tell me that they spend literally hours and hours, and they're just focusing on pods, that they forget to put their content out, or they're not focused on their content. I don't get it. I don't get it.
That's so funny. Yeah. Almost like what we discussed earlier, you learn for the sake of learning, that you even forget that you need to take action while you are learning this in the very first place. So
it's the same thing with LinkedIn. You get trapped into numbers and figures. Okay, we've all done it. I've done it, where I just get really excited about the numbers. How many people have engaged on my post? How many views have do I have? How many comments do I have? But when you look, or when you think of the bigger picture, I'm thinking, well, hang on a second. I'm getting all this big engagement. I'm getting all these views, but I have no clients. Then to me, that is wasted energy. I'd rather put a post out there that has 10 likes, maybe 50 views, but I've got a client out of it, than a post with 100,000 views and thousands of likes.
Amen.
Think about it logically.
It's not a popularity.
It's really,
not a popularity.
For some it is. For some it is, and that's fine. That's their right. If they choose to go and chase LinkedIn fame, knock yourselves out. That's not my game. I'm not there for popularity contests. I've got bills to pay. So again,
exactly. We cannot just go to the bank and deposit our fame.
Absolutely. I've got to focus back on my business.
I love this. I can also share, I spent while just starting my social media journey, I was just randomly connecting with random people in food, in all sorts of industries, have nothing to do with what I'm passionate about. It was definitely like, I enjoy the connections, but hey, you only have 24 hours a day, right? Yeah.
Especially if you're working, especially if you've got a real job.
I do, which is my case. Yeah, exactly. This is amazing. And I think like Stella deserves more hearts. And if you have benefited from this interview, please do share and give Stella a shout out, and maybe give my show a shout out. But that's okay if you don't. But definitely give Stella a shout out. She's such an amazing lady, and connect with her on LinkedIn. So one parting piece of advice, Stella, before we say goodbye to each other, and I'm going to share your LinkedIn link in the comment section, and everyone connect with her. She is just amazing. So one parting piece of advice, share with us.
All I can say is, if you're on LinkedIn, be you. Stay focused, follow your dream, follow your passion, put out content, engage, strategically place yourself with the right people to engage with, and just be consistent. Be consistent. You cannot, this is not a one-time thing. You can't do this 1 week and then go off for another week. You've got to, even if you engage 2 or 3 times a week, then commit to engaging 2 or 3 times a week with the right connections. And then through that, if you're genuinely looking for leads or for clients, they will get to know you that way. You are the buy-in. You, everybody I'm looking at, you are the buy-in.
Oh my God. That needs to be on a t-shirt. Seriously. I love this. This is so amazing. And I learned so much. And thank you so much for staying up late, Stella, and everyone in the live audience. Thank you so much for joining us live from different parts of the globe, for staying up late. And I truly appreciate you guys. And next Wednesday, the same time, same location, and I have another LinkedIn superstar to come to join the show. I'm not going to tell you who he is now, but stay tuned. He is also amazing. But a different approach. So I really start to see like different approaches can also work. You just need to figure out what works for you.
Which works for you.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Which approach resonates with you the most? Like, I love your approach. That is how I have grown my brand. I haven't used like any ads or things like that. But anyway, this is just amazing. And I shared Stella's LinkedIn link in the comment section. Make sure you connect with her. And thank you so much, my dear. This is amazing. And I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, and everyone in the live audience. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope to see you guys next Wednesday. Same time, same location.
Thank you for having me.